Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to swatch some Schmincke Aquarelle, or just more commonly called Schmincke Watercolors. I had purchased quite a few open stock based on dot cards. I highly recommend you always buy a set of dot cards for any brand you're considering and use that to help you decide what open stock tubes or pans or whatever you want to do to buy. That way you're not wasting your money, because tubes are quite expensive, and especially with a brand like Schmincke. So based on their dot cards, I decided to buy these colors here, open stock. There are 23 of them. I know that sounds like a lot, but well, it is. However, I am a firm believer in convenience mixes. I have no shame in that. I'm fine buying a color pre-made for me. I may adjust it here and there, but I'm a lazy watercolorist. What can I say? So I tend to buy more pinks and purples and greens than the average person would. But I also like to buy my variety of blues and try out different pigments and different recipes, as I like to call them. So I have a few here that I bought, and I'm finally ready to swatch them. I bought these a while ago on sale at Jackson's, my favorite place to buy Schmincke. So I will leave a link in the description below. It is my affiliate link, but it is no extra cost to you guys if you use that link, and I just get a little bit of credit to, well, buy more supplies down the road. So let me slide these out of the way. Today we will be swatching in my Etcher cold press 100% cotton watercolor sketchbook. I have this one here that I just use solely for swatches. So I have written out and stamped each one we're going to swatch today, and I want to swatch them in real time. So if you don't like talking or anything like that, you're welcome to put this on mute, go to the little settings, and you can speed up the process. But I am going to do this in real time so that I can kind of talk to you about how it's performing. So let's get started. Okay, now I do have them in this ceramic palette, which I will save because that is a good glob of paint and I don't want it to go to waste. I'm also using my number 8 round silver black velvet. I do really like these brushes. I have noticed it's really hard for me to deviate from them, although I am trying to branch out. All right, first I'm going to swatch transparent green gold, which is PY 154 and PBR 7. And we'll get a look at these while they're wet, and then we'll also take a look once they dry. Quinacridone gold hue, PY 150 and PR 101. Oh, I like that one. Ruby red deep, PR 264. Oh wow, that is beautiful. Okay, rose madder, PR 83.1 and PR 48.4. It's quite pretty as well. We have purple magenta, PR 122. If you're new to watercolors, the pigment number matters more than the name the company gives it, because sometimes you'll have two companies with a purple magenta but different pigments, so always pay attention to that. Quinacridone magenta, because I have a love for quinacridones. PR 202. Oh, that's why I love quinacridones. That's beautiful. Speaking of, if you're going to buy quinacridones, you got to get a quinacridone violet. PB 19. Oh gosh, look at that color. That is a beautiful color. I love it. Okay, Matter Red Dark. Might have too much on my brush. PV19 and PR179. Oh, that's lovely. I like that. Okay, Potter's Pink. Normally not a color I buy. However, I liked their dot card. PR233. Yep, need a little more water on our brush. Like most Potter's Pinks, this is a granulating color. It won't granulate as much because I'm swatching wet to dry, but you should always swatch the way you paint. I typically paint wet to dry, therefore I should swatch wet to dry so I can see how my colors are going to perform. So Schmincke Violet, PV23. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's like dioxazine, but oh wow, I like it. Okay. Then we have Cobalt Violet Hue, PV62. Oh, I like that one as well. Okay. Manganese Violet, PV16. Ooh, that one's actually gonna be nice. Some of them look opaque right now, but you just have to wait until they dry. And I've got my quinacridone purple, PV55. Oh wow, I love that color. That is a beautiful color. All right, French Ultramarine, PV29. That one's quite interesting. Not sure I like it. Okay, then we have Dark Blue, PV60. Oh, that's a luscious blue. It really is. I accidentally swatched or stamped it twice. Helio Turquoise, PV16. Oh, that's lovely. Very lovely. Okay, Cobalt Blue Deep. This is PV74. Get a little chunky there. I don't want to overwork it though. If I remember right, that one was granulating as well. Usually they are. Ultramarine Violet. Okay, PV15 and PV29. That's quite nice too. But Phthalo Sapphire, PV15-6. Oh my gosh, this color is looking lovely on the palette. Oh, that is a beautiful blue. Okay. Then we have our May Green. This was a color I really liked on the dot card. PY151 and PG7. That's quite lovely. All right, then we have a Cobalt Green Dark. This one's going to be a little bit more on the opaque side. PG26. It's quite a lovely color though. All right, try to move this without getting my hand in it. Now we have our Olive Green, which is PB15 and PG8. That is a beautiful green. Okay, now Mahogany, which is PBR 33. That's luscious. I really like that one. Okay, so these all need to dry because obviously when they're wet like this, you know, some are looking like, for example, down here, this looks like it's opaque, but obviously once it dries, you can start seeing the lines already coming through. And then of course you can start seeing some separation for those that are meant to granulate or separate. So I am going to dry these using my Ranger heat tool and the magic of pausing and re-recording for you guys. So I will be right back. Okay. So our colors are all dry enough. We have a few wet spots, but I am liking these colors. Now the Rose Madder compared to its dot card, I'm not as impressed as I was on the dot card, I'll be honest with you. So that was kind of a bummer. But I got these super cheap on sale, so that's the best time to buy. Get the dot cards and wait for a sale. The Potter's Pink is not too shabby. I know this is mixed in with one of their super granulating paints. Can't recall off the top of my head. I'm loving this cobalt violet hue. It is beautiful. It is a little bit opaque, but not as much as typical cobalt colors go. But it is a lovely purple. And it's not even a convenience mix. It's PV62, but I really, really like that one. The quinacridone purple I'm loving. I really like their dark blue as well. That's really pretty. The helio turquoise is just gorgeous. The cobalt blue deep I like, but it's granulating a little bit too much for my typical paint style. So, I mean, because this is wet to dry, and look at that separation you already got there. So that thing would be quite lovely on wet to wet, that's for sure. The ultramarine violet is really pretty. It does have a little separation. The phthalo sapphire is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. May green, I just love that color. But you know what? The one I really like out of the greens is this olive green. It's dark. It kind of reminds me of the Aquarius green from Roman Schmal, which is one of my favorites. In fact, I think we have it over here, Aquarius green. So, oops. As you can see, this one's a little bit cooler leaning than the other, but I really like it. And when I create my studio palette, I will be combining some of my favorites. So let's just play around and see how, say, let's find this quinacridone purple, which I think is in this little well. Let's see how they play around on the page. Now, these are pretty watered down. Those jets. If I'm filming, the jets are sure to join us. That's just a matter of fact. Just making a very loose rose. I prefer them that way. Now I'm going to take that gorgeous, gorgeous olive green. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, I love it. Love it, I love it. That is a lovely green. And the purple is quite nice as well. Try to get a little bit more of a darker concentration. Are these actually the leaves that you would put on a rose? No. But you know what? That's the beauty of watercolor. Do what you want. Why follow rules? These are pretty. Okay. So yeah, I think, granted, I'll be playing and painting with what's on my little ceramic palette here. See? Ta-da! I'll be playing with that in my sketchbook and kind of seeing how I like them once they're actually applied, because swatching is just half the game. You have to actually paint with your paints. because obviously one color might look kind of funky swatched, but perform great when you paint with it, or vice versa. However, going based like solely off my swatches here, I most definitely am enjoying this transparent green gold. This is a really pretty color. So that would probably make it in my palette for sure. The quinacridone gold hue, I don't think, yeah, I kind of like the quin gold of my Roman Schmal better. So that probably wouldn't. This Schmincke Violet is really nice, but it's hard to say. I don't know. It's a little darker than Dioxazine Violet. It is pretty though. It's really pretty, and this would wash out really nicely. I'm loving the quinacridone purple, which is what I used over here. I love that dark blue, so I'm sure that'll find its way into my palette, because even if I'm looking over here in my Roman Schmal, my Prussian blue is not, it's just not quite on the same level. So that would probably go in there, to be honest with you. This Helio Turquoise most definitely will find its way into my studio palette. And then of course May Green, and this Olive Green I probably will put in my palette. It's just, like I said, it's a little cooler than this Aquarius Green. And Aquarius Green has a lot in it. It's PY 150, PBR 25, PB 29, whereas this only has the 2. So it's a little bit, yeah, it'd be a nice little balance. And again, like I said, I do convenience mixes. Totally subscribe to that. No problems with me. So I think these will be fun to play with over the next couple weeks, and I'm hoping to finalize my studio palette using a mixture of Schmincke paints, because I really do like the way Schmincke works. I have a few Daniel Smith favorites that'll go into my studio palette, and then I also will have a couple Roman Schmal in my studio palette. Now I do have a video which I will link at the end screen if you want to watch it. So it'll be on this side, that side, I don't know, one of those sides. But I created my custom Roman Schmal palette using a curated set and then some open stock paints, and this is my Roman Schmal palette that I've made, and I love it. I was painting with it over the weekend and it was just beautiful. But yeah, my studio palette's going to take like all of my favorites and kind of combine them together. I'm not a brand snob. Like I don't need a single brand to be in my palette. There are so many colors out there, and every brand does it differently, and the colors and the pigments perform differently based on how they make it. So that's why I am fully subscribed to not only convenience mixes, but mixing brands, because I really enjoy certain colors from certain brands and the way they perform versus that exact same pigment from another brand. And that is one thing I may do down the road, is compare specific pigments, not names, because like I said, the name does not always match. You got to go off of the pigment itself. I do have quite a few paints from other brands as well, but like I have some Sennelier and, oh gosh, I've got Mission Gold. But those probably won't find their way into my studio palette. I like the Mission Gold. They're really nice paints. But I tend to notice that I like the Schmincke performance and the Roman Schmal performance a lot more. And then I just have a few of those Daniel Smith colors that can't be beat, like their sap green. I really like it for some reason. So yeah, that is my open stock set from Schmincke. I'm glad I finally got to swatching these. I really like the way they perform on my etcher, so that is important because that's where I typically paint. But yeah, we'll see over the next couple weeks which one of these make it into my studio palette. I do have a studio palette that holds 2 paints around the edge, and then you can actually put pans in the center. And the nice thing is you can pop out the pans by the season or your mood. It doesn't matter. So that makes it more versatile for me. But this was a fun little thing to share with you guys, so thank you for hanging out with me. And again, go ahead and check out my video on how I made my Roman Schmal palette. I will put it somewhere clickable. Until next time, take care. Bye now.